Friends and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning to you. It gives me a great pleasure and honor to be here today as a main sponsor for this important summit that addresses an extremely important topic representing the future opportunities for the ICT industry in cooperation with other industries. Talking about Jordan, I believe this summit in its 10th version comes at the right time, where Jordan is reaching a saturated stage in the traditional mobile services or traditional telecommunication services, and they increase consumption of or the increased usage of mobile networks is not reflected anymore in an increase in revenue. At the same time, today with all stakeholders getting together, either it's mobile operators, information technology players in all information technology sectors, representatives from the government, either the local or the regional governments. It's a good chance where we can talk how we can move forward the right way to maximize the values of the heavily invested networks and to ensure that we continue this investment moving forward. Before I start my presentation, I would to state certain facts in the industry where related to the ICT. It's known to all that the ICT industry played a major role in shaping the lifestyle differently in the past 5 years, resulting in changes in practices, habits, models, approaches, and even thoughts and beliefs. It's also known that the ICT industry moved from being a service offered to business and customers for a specific need into being a universe, hosting its population and offering them a luxurious life of freedom, sharing beliefs, big yards, more friends, free information and consultation, and even paving the path for new means of making money. And on the free consultation and free information, I think there is a term that we all use when something that we don't know, we say, just Google it. So I believe everybody in this room did Google something at the end of the day when they feel that they don't know much about it. Moving forward into my presentation, which will concentrate on how the development of information technology and telecommunication is affecting the lifestyle and the business models. We will start with a short video. was the end of it. Talking about how the development and the changes in the ICT industry is changing the lifestyle, and to give an example, with the development of ICT industry, the online gaming and the new gaming era is changing, and it's booming actually when it comes to the gaming side. I think when it comes to gaming, we reached already a very mature stage in that area. On the teaching and learning approach, I think people are acting differently. Today the internet is becoming a main tool for teaching and a main player in the learning industry. The people are communicating differently with the increased usage of and dependence on social media and OTT applications. I believe the communication is becoming a different experience. The healthcare is evolving. The devices that are operated through mobile technology and depends on the internet is increasing heavily. The employees are working differently. The governments in most of the world are shifting into e-governments, and they're acting and dealing with the data usage and network society in a different way. Business is managed, I will not say will be managed, is managed differently. I think all of us today realize how much over the last 10 years or last 12 years, how much the technology affected our day-to-day lives in terms of doing business. I still remember when we used to connect through a dial-up connection, the old days, and today connectivity is not an issue at all. Accordingly, the behaviors and the consumer behaviors, either individuals or businesses, is constantly changing.
It will be about renewed approaches to global challenges, such as education, healthcare, and as well finding efficient ways to manage limited natural resources. So I'm talking about trends. How do trends actually emerge? We at Ericsson have a special market research unit, which is called Consumer Lab. And this unit is dedicated to understanding what the consumers, what you are actually doing, and how this is affecting the networks. This is just a brief sample for us to understand how we arrived at today's situation, from 2004 until today. Split up the different hours we are using in a week for watching TV, for socializing with friends, for socializing with our spouse, our significant other, and as well for the internet. And what we have seen over those last 4 years, since 2004, in a representative study, is that basically the time that we spend with friends remains. The time watching TV is decreasing slowly. But what's interesting is that people are actually spending more time with their spouse, and at the same time, internet usage has increased by 4 times. Now, the curious mind among you will ask me, where's this additional time coming from? And if this is less sleep or less work, this is for you to answer. So this is the consumer perspective. But as long as we don't translate it to the network, we don't know what it actually means for the operator and as well for us in the future. In yellow, you see the network-related traffic, in red, the data traffic. And this is petabyte per month on the global networks. We see roughly 2010, this inception point, where actually data started taking over and becoming bigger than the voice share in total networks. If we just compare the last year from Q1 2012 to Q1 2013, what we saw is that data traffic doubled. At the same time, voice revenue only increased by 4%. And those 4% were coming from additional subscriptions in Middle East and a few in Asia Pacific. What is driving data? It's the smartphones, right? So what we have seen as well, Q1 2013 is the first quarter that has 50% of total mobile phone shipments as smartphones. We see as well here that already 30% of the traffic that is generated in total is generated via videos. It took us 5 years to get to 2012, where we had 1 billion smartphones on the networks. It will just take us another 2 years to add another billion. And what I started with was we are at the brink of the network society. Why do I believe we are at the network society? Let me show you a short video. What actually happens within 1 minute. To go to our vision of the network society. Today, we are already at 2 billion mobile smartphone broadband connections. We are at 90% coverage and subscriptions. We are at 6.4 billion subscriptions when it comes to our mobile connections. 8 years of video content is uploaded every day. And the ebooks that are being sold are outnumbering already today the normal book sales. With new services coming up, and especially new messaging services, we still have 200,000 SMS being sent every second. Now, this is where we are today. What we want to see is what's coming up in the future. And as of today, Ericsson has released our mobile traffic report. So you are the first audience that we will present our new numbers to. And those are our numbers that are paving the path for our vision of 2020. What do we expect to see in 2018? We see that data traffic on a global level increases by 12 times to what we have today. We see that we will have 4.5 billion smartphones and 9 billion total connections, which means that already then we will have 50% of all phones being smartphones, comparing to today's 20 to 25%. We're assuming that 60% of the population will be covered with LTE, and at the same time 80% with double CDMA. The really interesting part is as well, the 2 billion broadband connections that we have today, we're expecting it to be 7 billion with all the new shared plans that we see coming out. So this is where the real growth is. if we now say that we have 90% subscription penetration today, what does that mean for the operators? What does it mean for the new acquisitions? It obviously means that it's becoming tougher and tougher to acquire new customers. It's more about making sure that you do the retention, that you understand the loyalty. And this is again the information that we have from our research from Ericsson Consumer Lab. It comes down to the network performance. And network performance is basically coverage and speed. These are the prime drivers for loyalty, especially migrating towards more and more smartphones that we have in the networks. The consumer are becoming more demanding, 24/7 everywhere they go. The second most important point that came out from the research is value for money. And what is value for money? Value for money is basically the combination of pricing and network quality. So you have the correlation here as well again. With the evolution of new services, of service quality, of network performance, it's becoming more and more important to adjust our KPIs as well, because it's eventually the end user that is using certain services that needs to have KPIs that are responding to their specific demands. Previously, on the physical networks, you basically had your 100% coverage or your 95% coverage for voice and SMS. As of today, this doesn't count anymore. As of today, you cannot differentiate with this anymore. What we're looking at the concept of app coverage. So depending on what kind of service the customers are using, you will have a different coverage for those customers. If you look at voice and SMS, you will get your 95% coverage. If you look at a service like video streaming, or let's say, first of all, music streaming, where you need 1 Mbit, you will probably go down to 70% coverage. If you're looking at video streaming, HD, you will probably get down to 15 or 20% of coverage. And those are the KPIs that become more and more relevant to understand the customers and to deliver the real end user quality.
So it's a pleasure to be here. First time I was in Jordan was 13 years ago. And of course I was impressed by the country, Petra, Dead Sea, Wadi Rum and so forth. But more important, it's always a pleasure to come back and see our friends, partners, a great pleasure. It's not really the main topic, so it's an important topic, but it is bringing new growth opportunities in the Middle East. I would say, could be the question is, what is the place of the satellite to achieve this objective? We have seen our colleagues from Ericsson demonstrating an impressive growth. A big part of the infrastructure is provided by Ericsson, but there could be a piece provided by the satellite industry to go and push this growth that you have described, Sebastian. Another way of asking the question is when we see all this fiber or LTE coming in play, is there still a place for the satellite as well? And I'll try to answer this question. So, Eutelsat, maybe not as big as Ericsson as well, so just a couple of numbers. 30 is the number maybe to remember because we have been 30 years in the business and we have about 30 satellites going around the Earth as a geostationary orbit. And maybe an additional number, which is that we broadcast worldwide 4,600 TV channels. So you see we are a main player in broadcasting TV channels. So where are those satellites? We call these birds in our jargon. You can see that they are pretty much EMEA, Europe, Middle East, Africa centric. And if you look with a closer eye, you will see that we have many birds over MENA. So many over MENA. I try to make a game with the word. Huh? Many over MENA, many birds over MENA. Second message is that we are expanding. So this coming summer, so probably in August, we'll launch a new satellite, E25B. I mentioned this one for two reasons. One is that we are going to launch it in partnership with Eutelsat. I guess Eutelsat is here. And second, that the commercialization for the part which is for Eutelsat, so it will be done with our partner based here in Ahmad, which is Norsat. So clearly you see that what is coming is very important for us when we look at the Middle East region. Third, let's say those satellites, I would say, what are they used for? I should have said that the next satellite, which will launch as well, not this summer, so it's A25B, but the next one early next year will be E3B. So I see Omar, so good. I mentioned my friend from Norsat as well. So E3B will be as well dedicated in partly for this region, and it will be early next year. So what do we do with this? I said we should participate to the growth of the industry, but clearly we have two main applications. One is broadcasting, the other one, you know it, is telecom. So I will start to talk a little bit about broadcasting. And it's also similar numbers to those you've shown, Sebastian, but we say here that for broadcasting, that satellite is the major major platform for TV broadcasting. It's overall true worldwide, but in particular true for MENA, with 71% using satellite as a TV distribution. And we see this, it's a study not from Eutelsat, but from consultants. We see this even growing in the next 5 years. Second message is that there is an impressive already number of TV channels, 1,500, but guess what? It's going to double in the next 5 years, according to those studies. So 3,000 channels in the coming 5 years. And we talked a lot about quality as well. This morning there was some kind of survey from the audience here, and you see that those numbers are pretty much in line. And 10% at this time of TV channels are broadcasted as HD, but of course it will grow in the coming years. So I would like to maybe address a little bit what would be the technological trends related to, let's say, the growth we can see in this business. And we all hear about connected TV, but I will not address this one because I saw that there is a session tomorrow which says trends that predict the end of traditional video delivery. So trends that predict the end of traditional video delivery. There is a session tomorrow, and I encourage you to attend this session by Leprince-Ringuet. I say that because we take this very seriously. Of course, this is a very hot topic of the industry, which is connected TV. We do not ignore it. In fact, we will go along with it. And we want, in fact, to provide hybrid solutions where we feel that actually satellite has a strong advantage in terms of providing quality, whereas clearly a terrestrial link in terms of interactivity and connectivity has probably some good features as well. So what I would like to address is a little bit, and very quickly, unfortunately, but because we could spend time on that, is more about 4K and HD TV, because we may have different views on that. First, about technology, that for those who are not specialists, so that's interesting data. For those who know, that's basic, I would say. Sorry to say things you may know. But if you look at SD, when it was introduced for the same capacity, the same 36 megahertz capacity on a satellite, so we could transmit 12 SD channels, DVB-S, MPEG-2. I'm okay, Omar, with this number? Because I have not been as long as you are in the satellite industry, so please tell me if there is something wrong, yeah? But you see then, when we introduced HD with new compression MPEG-4 and modulation DVB-S2, so we could, with the same capacity, transmit 8 channels. And with, for 4K, which is a lot higher in terms of quality, and also you see in yellow the tag 50 frames per second, so that's twice as much as HD, so a much bigger quality, so with new protocols, so DVS3 and HEVC, so high efficiency video coding, so we will be able to have 4 channels, so we need more, still We have new technology, but we still need more capacity to bring those channels through satellite. The second point I would like to mention is what is the industry doing to promote 4K? So clearly, studios are already producing movies in 4K. Industry players like screen makers, I don't give names, but clearly are pushing 4K as well. But if you look at what Eutelsat is doing to prepare 4K for the future, you see that in January, we launched a dedicated demonstration Ultra HD channel on our satellite 10A. More important, more interesting, when we do that with client, so that's with Digiturk, we transmit the first Ultra HD, UHD demonstration on another satellite, which is E7A. E7A, 7 stands for 7 degrees east. That gives you the position on the, around the Earth. And as I speak, actually we do a demonstration of the French Open transmission in 4K as well. But this is experimentation. The question is, of course, when it will have a big impact in terms of volume, that will be you as well, and on a wide basis, a user of 4K. And that's where the question we have in the industry, will it be 2016 or 2022? And there are different opinions on that.